Hey everyone, welcome back to the Badass Confidence Coach podcast. Today we are talking about the habits that quietly are worsening your mental health. Now, if you've been a listener for any amount of time of the podcast, you know this is a podcast about mental health and wellness. And I talk about all the different habits that worsen our mental health. But today we're going to get a little bit more specific. So for some of you, you may say, Anna, I already know all of this. That's great. That tells me that, you're dialed into what it is you need to do. At least you have the awareness of taking care of yourself, especially in this day and age when mental health is something that we're all talking about and mental health is something that we're struggling with. But if you're new, welcome. And I'm going to give you some good new psychoeducation on what you can do to better your mental health. Okay.
Nice. This is like a top, how many? Top 10?
It's 5.
Top 5?
The top 5 things that we are all doing.
Okay.
You and I are both included in this. To worsen our mental health. Okay. And if you do all 5 of them, that's really not good.
That's bad.
It's a compilation effect. After a while, we all need to like hit the reset button. And, we have to hit the reset button when I go through it, which Tim never knows ahead of time what we're talking about. So you're going to hear and you'll be like, yeah, I got to work on that too.
I'm sure I'm going to hit 80%.
Well, I don't know about that.
Not in a good way.
We'll see. We'll see. I don't know.
Okay.
And these are things that we do every single day that I think a lot of us think it's actually helping. It's good for us, but what it's actually doing, it's a slow insidiousness of increasing our anxiety. And we don't even know it's happening. It's worsening our mood. It's putting us in a bad mood. We're feeling irritable. And then we start living up in our heads. We're all up in our heads, quietly doing this self-talk that's ripping on us. And it's also worsening our relationships, in real life relationships. Okay. Mm-hmm. And the tricky part for all of this is that it doesn't really look destructive on the outside, right? It looks kind of normal because this is something that everybody's doing these days, it seems, right? So it's the subtle, it's the socially acceptable habits that quietly are eroding all of our mental health. And at the end, I'm going to quickly read you a study that just came out. Well, an article I read at 5 a.m. this morning on Substack in a neurology and neuropsychiatry Substack that I follow. It fits in perfectly with today's episode about what it's doing to our brains, like actually what it's doing in a big study that just came out that was done. Okay. So, most of us don't need a personality overhaul. It's not about our personalities, but we do need behavioral honesty. We need to get honest about our behaviors. We need to confront and face our behaviors, get real honest about what we're doing, the time we're spending on these different issues. Okay. Dare I say, okay. Number 1, I'm going to say it. It's doom scrolling. And we're doom scrolling really in a way on social media to air quotes, stay informed. There are other ways that you can do it. So you tell yourself that you're being responsible. You want to stay current on the issues. You want to know what's happening in the world, right? But neurologically, what's going on? You're flooding your nervous system. I'm going to say that again. You're flooding your nervous system. We were never meant, us humans, our brains, we were never meant to take in this much information. Go back 20 years ago, we watched the news. We had we had cable, right? So go back 30, 40 years ago, we had CBS, ABC, and NBC, right? And then we had cable, WGN, right?
Yeah.
And then we had CNN, then we had Fox News, right? And the cable news networks. Now, people aren't even on those anymore. Yeah. People are going to social media for their news and podcasts.
Right.
And we're listening ad nauseum. It's addictive. And I've talked about this before. That the scientists and the graduate school programs, the professors, they're teaching these students, they're teaching the younger scientists how to keep our brains addicted. They want to keep us on here, right? So once I knew that, I was like, that bugs me. I'm going to get off. I don't like that.
Fight it even harder.
I don't want to be a part of that.
Yeah, right.
So our amygdala, the part of our brain that's fight, flight, fawn, like the stress part of our brain,
Yeah.
it doesn't distinguish. It doesn't know how to distinguish between a war headline, a celebrity scandal, a political crisis, or a threat that's right outside your door. Okay. Your brain just reads danger, danger, danger. All right. That's really important. Our brains are pretty fantastic, but they can't distinguish in that sort of way. Right. And then you wonder why you're in a bad mood at dinner.
Mm,
Think about it.
yeah.
What have you been consuming all day long, right? Or, you're in a bad mood at dinner, you don't want to be there, or you're snapping at your spouse, or you can't fall asleep. That's a big one. Why you can't fall asleep at night. This isn't about ignorance, really. This is about dosage, right? It's about how much of a dosage you're taking in of you're not taking in 10 milligrams, you're probably taking in 100 milligrams of something and you don't even realize you way took too much. You're taking too much. It wasn't prescribed for you, right? So mental health declines when your nervous system never gets a break from perceived threats. Okay? Really important. I think that's like we can end now.
Yeah. Weekend. Okay, done. Bye.
Done. Because that's really, really important.
Yeah. All right. So for fun, how about if I do a self-assessment after each one of these 5?
Okay.
So I think this one for me, I fight this one rather aggressively.
Yeah, you're pretty good at
And
it.
I'm conscious of the fight. So I have pockets of things that I like to consume. We'll go with that content, right? And I try not to stray outside of those lines. My challenge is don't overspend time inside of the pockets that I've already predefined for myself. So for example,
Good for you.
if I'm into, depending on the time of year, maybe I'm into football content
Mhm.
on YouTube,
Right.
right? So I'll stay within inside of the borders of that conversation, but I might spend too much time, right? That more time than I need to spend. And then
Right.
when I do, I'm like, oh, it got me that time.
You
I'm
do spend a
pretty
lot of
careful.
time during football season on the Miami Dolphins.
Yeah.
You do. You don't, but it's like the one thing you do.
Yeah.
I don't think you do. You will from September or whatever, August until January. You'll spend a lot of time, but I mean, that's your only vice.
Yeah.
I don't think you spend that. I don't think you spend too much time, I have to say. Objectively, I
I
really
fight
don't.
this one pretty hard.
Yeah.
I try to not.
I spend more time than you. So I'm on there. I'm on TikTok and Instagram because I'm creating content. So I'm always doing that. And here's the thing. I will scroll Instagram a little bit. Instagram is not my jam. My jam is, or Facebook. My stuff that's on Meta. So I will post content for Instagram. It goes right to my business page on Facebook. I'm not on there that much. I will post, like I just posted it on the personal page for our daughter whose 29th birthday. I'll post pictures because that's for friends and family.
Sure.
But I don't really look at Facebook that much or even Instagram. I like TikTok, and TikTok is addictive and they know it. And I have got to spend less time on there
They
because
got you
love
on
it.
that one.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love
got
it.
you.
I think it's the best thing. And it's bad because I know this. Like I just said, I know the algorithm is watching what I'm doing and they're seeing what she likes. And so, like, just recently, our daughter got engaged, and I was looking, and I don't know, I was like, mother of the bride, wedding dresses, mother of the bride dresses or gowns. Now it sends me, of course. And I love fashion. I'm like looking at it. I'm like, Anna, get off. You've been on here for an hour, and it's amazing how the time. That's what gets a little embarrassing. Like, oh no, it's been an hour. I've been on here all this time,
Yeah.
or whatever it is you're interested in. It will be like, oh, she wants more of that. Let's send her a bunch of dogs. Let's send her farm animals. Let's send her horses or competition.
Yeah.
Or Western riding or hunter jumpers. And I'm like, I love that. It's like a dopamine hit to me just to look at thoroughbreds or warm bloods. I could look at warm bloods it's my fantasy all day long. When I die and I think of heaven, I think of horses everywhere.
Wow.
And TikTok provides it for me. So it's like, it's so addictive.
And it's listening to you right now.
I know. Because it's right here. And I have the phone on because I want to talk about the study at the end. I know. So exercise restraint for all of us. So this is a habit, a bad habit, right? That I can get into. And it's one that I talk to my coaching clients about all day long It's our habits. So set some restrictions on it. So,
Okay.
and I feel very guilty if I have spent like my white space, and if you're a coaching client of mine, you know white space is. If my white space has been spent like an hour of my white space is on the phone on TikTok, I don't like it. It makes me feel very guilty. It does. Anna, what a waste of time. You can't, yes, you enjoy looking at horses, but you just waste an hour of your life and you can't get that time back. And that will
Fair.
overpower the
That's
time
fair.
that I've spent. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So, right there with all of you, that's something that we all have to work on more than I think that we already are. Okay. Number two, what's the habit that's worsening our mental health is overthinking. And it's a false sense of control, which I like this angle, so it gives us this false sense of control over our lives if we overthink something. So this is a really big one for high functioning adults that I work with. So you may think to yourself, if I think it through enough, I'll feel better. If I think about what I'm thinking about, I do all this meta cognitive work, then I'm going to feel better because it's going to give me this false sense of control over myself, right? Or my life. But that's rumination. And that's not problem solving. All right. So, rumination, what is rumination? It's replaying scenarios in your mind. It's replaying a conversation, a whole scenario. It's replaying a relationship with someone. It's rehearsing. It's re arguing. How many of us do this, right? You're re arguing something, an argument or debate you got into with somebody at work, a colleague, somebody on the phone, re-arguing someone in customer service who made you mad about your cell phone bill, re-arguing a fight with your boyfriend, your girlfriend, your spouse, your best friend, someone in your group. It's re-predicting something. Okay. So
Mm.
this is living in our heads. And every time you do it, what you're doing is you're strengthening the neural pathway of anxiety. We don't often put those two together. That you're strengthening the neural pathway of anxiety in your life.
Okay.
I didn't always really think of it like that. The neural pathways, right? Of, how we're overthinking. We know it's not good, but it does lead into really the anxiety neural pathway versus maybe the mood disorder or maybe not the mood disorder, but the depression pathway. This is the anxiety pathway. Okay. You're not getting clarity. You're not really getting clarity on the issue. You're getting fatigue. You're not getting control. You think you are, you're really not getting control. You're getting fatigue. You're getting cortisol level spikes. You're getting that. Yay. Who wants that? Like, we need any more of that in our lives. Overthinking, if what does it do? I know I've been an overthinker. It feels productive. It feels productive, and it doesn't work, but you still do it. It's actually avoidance of action.
Yeah.
Get out of your head and get into behavior. Take action in what it is you are overthinking about. So I just gave you the answer right there. Go ahead.
All right. Self-assessment.
Right.
So in the world of, since you brought it up, the world of customer service, a situation occurs. It's never perfect. It can't be, right? There's some type of disagreement in that world. It all plays out. Everybody parts ways. I go back to my office and I tend to rewind it and want to play it again in my head. What
You're debriefing.
I'm
You're
debriefing and I'm
debriefing.
trying to learn from it.
Right.
I probably stew on it just a little too much, because you're not going to get a redo on it. It's not like we're going to have this conversation a second time.
Does it make you feel, when you're doing that in your office, after you shut the door and you go and you sit down and you're sort of debriefing, does it give you a sense of control? Are you looking for control?
I think it gives me knowledge, because then I can go back to my guys and just say, hey, you know what? You guys, amazing job with all of these things.
Right.
And then
right.
there's these things that we need to do, or just consider maybe
But
we
I
could
don't
do them
think
better.
I don't think it's overthinking.
No, not in
No,
that
so that's
arena.
not overthinking.
But another arena wherein you know what I'm going to say on this one. So you and I are considering a decision, a big decision, and there's homework or research or
Yeah.
some type of data that we need.
Right.
I like doing that kind of stuff, and I spend more time than
Yeah,
I
you do.
need to.
You do.
And I think
You
there's
do.
a little bit of
You get into analysis
fear.
paralysis.
Yeah, there's fear
Yeah.
of oh, I don't want to make the wrong choice.
Fear comes up for you.
Yeah.
It
So,
does.
I mean, so I fail at that. I mean, I definitely
You will
spend
overthink.
I will.
Because I think
Yeah.
it gives you probably, that's a good scenario, Tim, because I think it does give you a sense of control I'm going to try to control this as best I can by looking at all the factors,
Hopefully, yeah,
all of the factors, all of like, if this happens and this and then that, and if we go with that person and then that, then right, it gives us a sense of, okay, I've got control. We're looking for mastery.
yeah,
We spend our lives looking for mastery. I
yeah.
mean, I talk about mastery, emotional mastery. This is a process in life. I don't have today emotional mastery every day, emotion regulation every day in all situations. I teach the skills for people to have emotional mastery. And I've given you the skills in my individual work with my clients. And if you come into my group coaching, I'm going to give you the skills. And you need to know that this is a life's work for you. This is a process for you in your life. You just don't have the skills right now because you don't know them.
Yeah.
I know them.
Yeah.
This is what you're paying me for. And I will share with you insights, and I will share with you, the wisdom that I have garnered throughout my professional and my personal life. I'll give that to you. And we are all working on mastery. You're working. I think yours goes awry a little bit when it comes to making big decisions because you get a little freaked out by it.
Well, I get freaked out because I'm like not wanting to make the wrong decision and then have to go back and look in the mirror and be like, "Ooh, you should have considered this
But
just a
have you
little bit
ever done
more."
that in your life?
I don't know. I'd have to really think about
I don't know
that.
if you've ever made a
I'm sure 100%. I'm sure I have. Yeah.
I don't know if you've made a really big mistake because I think for you, it's about money. I think when we're talking about a lot of money, putting a
Sometimes,
lot of
yeah.
money into something, you
Sometimes.
start to get like nervous.
Yeah.
You do.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think that you like, oh, I gotta make sure we make the right decision because this is a lot of money.
Yeah.
And I don't know if we've ever made a big decision where we've kicked ourselves.
Not really.
Not financially.
Not really.
Thank God. I
Not
mean, knock
something
on
that
wood.
was controllable.
Yeah.
I think what helps me, just to circle back on this one, what helps me then is to approach it in a little different way. Have a list that I make, pros, cons, right?
Yeah.
Start with
You do
that.
that. Yeah.
Don't wait to get to that later. Start from the beginning with that pros, cons list, and then it kind of gives direction.
Yeah.
And most of the time when you start putting pen to paper, it's pretty quick. You're like, oh, that list, that side of the ledger is pretty big.
Yeah, it does help.
Yeah.
Because you're probably a visual learner.
Yeah.
You can see it written down. Okay. All right. The next one habit that worsens our emotional health is going to be emotional avoidance. But oftentimes for us, it looks like strength, right? So, this one shows up as you staying busy, you being the air quote strong one in your life. I don't need help. You're the one who never needs help. You don't need help. I got this. No, I got this. I got this. I'm fine. I'm fine. It's all fine. I'm fine. I'm fine. Right? That's emotional avoidance. And if this is you, you're someone who really needs to get into my group coaching. You need to work on emotional mastery. I've got a lot I can share with you on this one. All of these. This is one that we really do talk about quite a bit. So avoidance temporarily, it does lower discomfort, right? But long term, it's unprocessed emotion. Unprocessed emotion can and does turn into irritability, like I just said, anxiety, you numbing out. You may be, numbness, numbing out. Many people will numb out through drugs, alcohol, and, certain types of drugs, benzos, Valium, Ativan, Ambien, to sleep aids, which I think are the devil. And we can talk in a whole other episode about why I think that. We numb out. We just numb out. Or for some people, maybe just numb out by over-exercising. The habits that we're doing that are not good for us because we want to stay away from unprocessed emotions. Numbness is a really big one. Resentment, feeling resentful towards people. That's emotional avoidance. Why are you resentful? And then the physical symptoms, like I sort of just went into. Physical symptoms, maybe you're sick a lot. Maybe you're sick a lot. Pay attention to that, right? You cannot outperform your nervous system.
Yeah.
You can try. But the older you get, you realize you cannot outperform your nervous system. Your body is talking to you. There's that very well-known book, Bessel van der Kolk, The Body Keeps a Score. It's about trauma. The body keeps a score. The body always remembers. You cannot outperform your body. Your body will tell you.
Yeah, true.
That's your nervous system, right? So you can try to suppress feelings. You can try to suppress those feelings, but you cannot delete them. So good luck if you're trying to do that on your own.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a big one. And so many of us are doing this emotional avoidance in our lives and we're not
Right.
facing what it is we need to face. And if you are that person, if you're watching this on YouTube or if you're listening to me right now, my question to you is, what are you afraid of? What are you afraid of? What are you afraid of looking at? What are you afraid of addressing within yourself? What do you think might percolate to the surface of your mind and in your heart? What is it? When you face that, if you face it, you will see that you can deal with it. You can work with it, especially if you have psychological safety with a therapist or a coach. You'll be able to work on it.
Yeah.
You have no idea what's on the other side waiting for you. Some good stuff. Freedom. All right, before we get into the next one, I want to talk to you a little bit about my group coaching. If you're interested in any of this today has resonated for you, if anything that I have talked about in the podcast and prior episodes resonates for you, you want to get into my group coaching. Okay. So that's something where you're going to learn, like I've said before in the podcast, this is general psychoeducation and individual coaching one-on-one with me. Well, then you're getting all my time and attention, and we're working on the very specifics of your life. But in group coaching, we're doing that as well. And what I love about group coaching is people in there really get to know each other, and they help each other out, and we have insights and thoughts for each other, which is such a wonderful sense of community. So if you're also looking for community, it's amazing what you can do on Zoom, right? But this is not nuance. So I can't do nuance because there's no time for that. I don't have the time. That's why in social media when I talk, on the podcast when I talk, I try to get much more detailed than I do in social media. But the wonderful thing about group coaching and one-on-one is there's nuance. We get into your life. You get to talk about your situation. What keeps you up at night? What makes you cry? What is it that's stressing you out that you can't figure out on your own? You get that with me when you come into group coaching. Okay?
I like it.
So please don't hesitate. There is in the show notes. Click on how to get in touch with me in the show notes. All right. And let's work together. Okay. Reach out. It's worth an email. Let's get on a discovery call together.
Nice.
Okay. All right.
So self-assessment
Yeah.
on number 3.
Right.
I don't think that's me. I don't think I fall into that.
I don't think that's you at all.
Avoidance? I don't think so. I think
No.
I mean the only thing I'm just trying to even put it into context of my day-to-day.
Emotional avoidance that looks like strength for you. I don't think of you. You're such a chill person. I don't think you. Okay, but even if you were a chill person, I don't. You get irritable, unprocessed emotions for you. Is there anything that you're not processing that you haven't processed? Let's be real and vulnerable right now.
I mean, you and I talk about everything like every day. So I mean, I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't
I
think
really
so
don't.
either.
I mean, I'm thinking in the
We
context
talk about hard
of-
stuff. We talk about hard issues.
Yeah.
We do. I think that you can. Yeah, I think you do. Yeah, I think you get annoyed. Sometimes you'll make snide comments sometimes about some of the kids. And I say to you, go tell them that.
Yeah.
It'll come out sideways towards me, like not towards me, but you'll talk to me about something that someone said at a dinner, family dinner, or something that you'll get annoyed. And then I get annoyed with you. I'm like, don't talk to me about it. Go talk to him. Go talk to her. I don't
Yeah,
want to hear
yeah.
that. Because you do sometimes use me. You'll talk to me rather than going directly to them. And that could be a little bit of emotional avoidance on your part.
Yeah, because I
I
think
mean, I'm kind of calling you out here on the,
that's
but
fine.
it's true.
No, it's all good.
It's true.
Yeah, it's true.
You do that. And I say, cut me out of this. Go talk to
Yeah.
them. I don't want to hear this.
No, I think you're 100% accurate. I
Because you
think
add to my mental and emotional load in my head. I don't want to,
yeah. And I think the reason that I do that, I'm not comfortable calling somebody out in a group setting. Like sometimes
well, we don't do that. You're not
well,
supposed to do that.
not there are things that like are said in a group setting that probably shouldn't be sometimes. I'm not comfortable with that probably ever. But if it happens, it happens. You know what I mean? Like I don't go that direction typically.
Well, our dynamic in our family of our family and in my family of origin,
Yeah.
we're very open.
It's very open.
We tend to lack boundaries.
Yeah.
These loud
Right.
Italian families.
That's exactly what I'm talking
yeah, we
about.
tend to lack
Yeah.
boundaries. People will say things like, "Yeah, probably," and you get it. I am so used to it because I've lived with this my whole life and I understand it.
Yeah.
You get a little bit more rattled by it. I do a little bit, but you do more. And then you'll say something to me on Monday morning. Why did so and so say that? And then I say, go tell them.
Right, right,
Don't.
right.
And I, to me, like walking the dogs on a Monday morning or a Tuesday evening, I have a lot going on in my mind already. And then you will just pile on. I don't think you
Yeah.
realize you're piling on into my mental load of all that's already going on in my head. And I'm like, not that I don't want to hear it. It feels like you're complaining to me about something you didn't like about Sunday night dinner when so-so said this out loud. And I want to say, and I'm saying to you now, like I've said it to you before, go, no, you don't call them out at the dinner table in front of
Yeah.
everybody. You call them and you have a conversation with them.
Sure.
Or you pull them
Sure,
aside
sure,
next
sure.
time you see them.
Yeah.
Hey, I don't think it's whatever it might be.
Yeah.
But take me out of it.
Yeah. And
that's a little bit of emotional avoidance.
Well, and sometimes I'm looking just to process. Like I don't really have an intention of calling anybody out, but I'll come to you.
I don't always want to hear your process.
Well, okay.
I think that's it. Sometimes I
I
don't
get
always want
that.
to hear your emotional process. I don't. It's a lot sometimes.
I know, but I think you can appreciate the fact that people need to have a process, right?
Yes.
And sometimes they need to say it out loud, not into the
know,
mirror.
I know. And I know that I'm that person for you. I'm your person.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's hard to listen to.
I appreciate that.
Because I don't have objectivity. You're talking about our kids.
Sure.
So I can't, if I was your best buddy and you were talking to me about Sunday night dinner the night before and my daughter said this or my son said this and I was your best friend, in my own family, like, oh yeah, you should, whatever. I'm your wife. These are my kids too. I'm totally subjective. I don't have objectivity.
Right.
So there you go.
There you go.
I know you don't like them calling you out on the podcast.
No, I'm totally good with this. I'm open book.
Just remember that though next time, because I keep telling you, go talk to somebody else about it, or talk to them yourself.
Okay, number 4.
Mm-hmm. Okay. We will probably have to. We'll talk about this offline.
Nice, so funny.
I think that's pretty common, though. I actually think a lot of parents deal with this with their adult children, and so this is we can have a conversation, a whole other podcast episode about this. When you're raising little ones. Babies, toddlers, preschoolers, and then you're raising children in the grade school. They all come with their challenges. The grade school years, the elementary school, the middle school, the high school. I mean, geez, we have it with some of them through high school years. It's funny. Yesterday was our daughter's birthday, and I sent her a picture. I should have sent this. I should have sent this in the family text. Me being a brat, I sent a picture of her birth announcement to her. And I sent her a picture of the placard that's on the isolate, the isolate, not the isolate. That's in neonatal. NICU is an isolate on the little, the cribs that they put the babies in when you send them down to the nursery. Okay. It's a girl, it's a boy. You all know the blue for boy. It's a girl. I sent that to her. It's so cute. I haven't looked at that in how many years because I went downstairs. I did it for her birthday and went through her baby book, and then underneath that was a police report from one of the towns here when she and her boyfriend got arrested. And I'm not going to tell you why in the podcast because I'm not going to say it. Yeah. When she was a junior in high school, they got arrested because we had some wild kids. And I was like, oh yeah, it was the Bannockburn Police Department.
I know what you're speaking about.
I was like, look at this.
Where did you find this? Like
I kept it. I kept it because I told myself I'm keeping all this stuff and I'm going to either like show it at the rehearsal dinner.
Wow.
Get married.
Okay.
Or something. I kept all that. So I have the police report from when she and her boyfriend got arrested in high school. So there you go, y'all. We had been through it with some of these kids. So I'm like, okay, I'm not going to ruin the day. I'm not going to send this to her, but I am going to send it to her. But I won't do it on her birthday. But I won't do it on her
I'm not
birthday.
passive aggressive. I'm aggressive.
So that was, anyways, we got totally off track. Oh, so you have the different phases of your life. And now, so now we're in the phase in our lives. Then you have college, your parent, you're still parenting these kids, they're still calling you for all kinds. I need money. Can you put more money in my account? Oh, mom, I'm so hungover. Or, you're talking to them about safety at that time. You're talking to them about, head on a swivel. The kids say this all the time. Keep your head in a swivel, keep your head about you. Come on, get your head on straight, right? Think this through. Those might be some of the high school years, the college years. And now we're in the 20s. And now these years are They're adults. Most of them are professionals. One's still in graduate school, but they're professionals. They've lived on their own. They're living on their own. They have their own lives. They have their own salaries. They have their own insurance, dental, medical. They're living their own lives. They're paying their own bills. And now it's different because our relationship, now they're coming over and they are adults. They've got opinions about politics, about religion. They've got opinions about skincare, you name it. They've got opinions about like the best running shoes. Like they know it more than us. That's what we're dealing with now.
Sure.
And they're like having no boundaries and saying whatever they want at family dinners. And that's what I think is different for us today. I'm like, oh my gosh, these 25-year-olds, they think they know it all.
It does. It is.
That is a real thing right now.
It's humorous.
That's our new phase.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
for sure.
They're telling us how to be, and now they're telling, and now here the thing is that they get worried about like, Mom, don't trip. I'm like, get out of here. I'm not that old. Like, Mom, be careful. There's ice over there. I'm like, okay, I'm glad that you care, but hello, I'm not that old. I'm not going to trip and fall and crack my head up.
I mean, it's a fair concern.
Mom, this is what it's going to be like in 20 years. You better work on your balance, Mom. Like, calm down. I'm fine. That's what we're dealing with.
Well, they're not wrong with that part of it.
Yeah.
Right? Like you do need to be careful.
Okay, whatever. So do you, Tim. Whatever. I do.
But
hold
on. So go back. So this is real life because this morning, right, one of our children is going to go to an interview.
Yeah.
Right? So you're talking
about... where were Tim and I at 8:00 last night? At Target, getting undershirts because he doesn't have any undershirts to wear underneath his suit, getting him a resume folder for his Yes, I'm like, oh my gosh, I feel like I'm back with a kid in high school. We got him undershirts.
Yeah.
We made sure his suit was all put together. His tie matches blouse. What's it called? I say blouse. Shirt matches suit, that he had socks, that he had his resume portfolio thing. We went and got ink because the printer ran out of ink.
Yeah.
So here we are in some ways doing I remember last night Target being like, I feel like I have a kid in 8th grade again.
Right.
But he's 25.
Where you get the call at 8:45 in the morning that there's donuts due at the office by 9.
That was my life.
Hustle up.
Mom, I forgot. Can you get donuts? I forgot to bring, it is my day to bring donuts to homeroom or whatever their first. I'm like, really? Really? Right now?
Yeah.
You want me? And 90% of the time I would do it. Sometimes I didn't because I felt bad because the whole class was waiting for donuts.
Everybody's waiting.
So I didn't do it for him. I did it for the other kids in the class. I felt badly. Yeah. And so last night, this is what we were doing. And I remember thinking as we're walking through Target at 8:30 and I just wanted to go to bed. I can't believe I'm doing this. I'm exhausted right now.
Yeah.
And I feel like I have a little kid again.
It's what
he was very appreciative.
Yeah.
Oh, and then he texts while we're there. And can you get lunch meat?
Nice.
Okay.
Wait, so hold on. So let's bring this full circle and then you need to move to number 4.
Yep.
So this morning, as he's getting ready to go, and this is the moments where it's still like, we still do parent, we still do coach,
we do.
Right? So I went through with him like a list of like, let's make sure you have all of these things with you.
Oh, you did?
Right now.
I was
because you're about ready to get in the car. Do you have your belt? Do you have because he didn't have any of his actual clothes on that he was going to interview
He's changing downtown.
He's changing downtown. So it's risky, right? Because you don't have that stuff on you. Hopefully it's in your bag. So we went through the whole list together real quick just to make sure you don't get downtown and you've got like yellow socks.
Because he's got a big interview this morning.
Yeah, like what's up with that? So it was kind of interesting. Like, okay, well, you're almost out of the nest and you're not at the same time.
Yeah.
Right? And that's okay. That's what we do.
Yeah, that's what we do.
Yeah, that's what we do.
And it does still go on. That's our point.
Sure.
So in some ways they talk at us because we're the adults and we know. And then sometimes you're back to like, do you have your socks? You have your belt? Don't forget your belt. Don't forget your tie.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think
we love it. I mean, we do love it.
Of course we love it.
We do.
And I think that every once in a while a light bulb does flicker with the 5 of them where it's like, okay, maybe they do have a little bit of knowledge and wisdom that they can share with me.
Maybe they
right? Like every once in a while.
Maybe they got some life wisdom on us.
Sometimes.
Yeah. Okay. All right, let's go on. Number 4, habits that worsen all of our mental health. And you all know I'm going to talk about this. It's sleep. We sabotage our sleep. So, people want these big breakthroughs. Sometimes the breakthrough is go to bed. Go to bed. Get off your phone and go to bed. Sleep is not a luxury. It is emotional regulation infrastructure. Okay. This is the infrastructure for you. This is how we move into emotional regulation. If you're not sleeping, you're not going to be regulated as ideally as well as you could during the day. Okay. So when you're sleep deprived, your amygdala is much more reactive. The prefrontal cortex up here, start thinking, the prefrontal cortex is less effective. You're impulsive and you can be more negative. All right. So then people will say, I don't know why I feel so anxious lately. Well, you got to start with your sleep. Look at your sleep. Always start with sleep. Right. So I'm taking this stand up class because and for stand up comedy, which is the scariest. So freaking scary. It's so much harder than when I was doing improv. And so last week I was doing practicing my stand up in front of the class, and I was talking about being a therapist and a life coach, personal development coach, and I was talking about this whole thing of sleep. And part of like my shtick on stage is talking about when coaching clients want like these big transformative moments. Like, come on, coach, I'm hiring you, I'm paying you. Tell me what to do. Tell me what to do, I'll do it. And for many people, it's we got to start with sleep.
Hmm.
And I was talking about how my clients were like, oh, that's it. Well, that's not that's okay. Like, really? It's because it's not sexy. And I just kind of like was like talking about it in my stand up, and people were laughing. And then when I got off, and the teacher kind of critiques you and goes over like how you can better your stand up routine that we're all going to do in a few weeks.
Yeah.
And he was just talking about how you just like how to be deadpan about it, a little bit more deadpan. But it was interesting that got a lot of laughs because everybody in the class, and there's people in the class that are 20 college kids to people who are like in their early 60s, all in this stand up class. Everybody's going to do this show in the end of March. And everybody thought that was funny because everyone's like, yeah, you're right. Like, so you talk to people about sleeping, like, no, our sleep sucks. It's bad. And yeah, you're right. Like, everybody could understand,
Yeah. I like
it
that.
resonated for people.
Give us a little look behind the curtain, will you? The stand up moment.
No, I'm not talking about that on here.
Come on.
No, because it's nerve wracking. I suck at it. It's really, really hard. It's real. Like, I've done a lot of hard things in my life. I'm telling you, everybody, I've done a lot of hard things in my life. Public speaking is a number one anxiety globally, worldwide.
Yeah.
Everybody, well, I say everybody. I'd say 95% of people get nervous about speaking in front of, and even like people I know who are professional motivational speakers, they still get nervous before they go on stage. It's a really hard thing. So let me tell you, I mean, this is probably in some ways mentally harder than triathlon, preparing for competition, athletic performance. It's harder than anything. I mean, it's harder than anything I've done. I've always been comfortable as a therapist, as a coach, one-on-one, running groups. I don't get that nervous. This, even talking about right now, I'm kind of sweating. It's really, really, really hard
So
because
funny.
not everything is funny.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well,
people get up.
that's the worry, right?
I'm not always funny. I watch other people get up and stand up, and they're not always funny. I mean,
Yeah.
there are people who are just not your vibe, and but you're on stage and you're hoping for a chuckle, and you're up there and you're trying to make jokes, and you're telling stories that are being met with silence.
Yeah.
And or people are looking at their phones or they're talking to each other.
Yeah.
And you're like, wow. And you think it's hard because you think to yourself, wow, I really suck. I really suck at this.
Or maybe it's just on them, right? Like maybe it's not you. Maybe you.
So
maybe
when you're
you
not,
are.
yes.
Yeah. Maybe you
Yeah.
are funny, and it's
Right.
and then you don't jive with
There you go.
the vibe of the group.
And you can say that all day long, and I do that too. It is hard when you're up there on a stage with a microphone.
Yeah.
And you hear your loud voice through the microphone and no one's laughing. It's hard.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm doing it, because I'm challenging myself.
Is this on? Is this on? Hello?
I'm challenging myself.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Go ahead.
Self-assessment.
Yep.
Real quick. So this one, I used to struggle with this one. Sleep. Right? Like I would always come to bed late, like literally every night. And my sleep
It was
would
bad.
be, it was minimal at best, right?
I was worried about
Yeah.
you.
But I have flipped the script. Thank you very much. So now you go upstairs. You're upstairs probably
Earlier.
somewhere between 8 and 9. You're on most nights, you're
Yep.
going upstairs to kind of like start the process.
Yep.
And I am most nights not that far behind you.
Right.
Right. There might be a few things to do, or if it's a weekend, maybe it's a little bit of a different story. I might drag my feet or who knows what. But for the most part, I'm trying to get upstairs sooner than later, start the process, read a little bit, shut the lights, and off we go.
Yeah.
Right. Like that's been helpful.
Yeah, you've been
very, very helpful.
Well, I think that in 2016, your lymphoma diagnosis we started to, because you were what, 48 years old, 49, 48. We
Something like
couldn't
that.
understand how you got cancer, how you got lymphoma, like couldn't understand it.
Yeah.
And so we started to really look at all the different habits of your life. And when you working out that time, like actively coaching, but actively a triathlete yourself, like training all the time for triathlon. We eat pretty well. What was our vice? We drank wine, like we were wine drinkers, and we didn't drink
Sure.
every night. We drank wine on the weekends. I mean, you were teaching most nights. Like we couldn't figure out what it was. Your sleep was something.
Yeah, for sure.
You came home, you stayed up really, really late, and you got up at 4 o'clock in the morning back then.
Yeah.
You were gone. You were like gone at 4:30 in the morning. It was crazy. You did not get any sleep. And we just had to look at all the different micro habits and the different routines and habits in your life,
Yeah.
and including the micros. And one of them was sleeping. And we both decided you have to change that.
Yeah.
That cannot be helping your health.
Right.
That you had such 4 hours of sleep. 5 hours of sleep is insane.
5 hours. It was probably 5 hours every single
And
night.
I would say, how do you not feel exhausted? And I think you just were so used to living your life to 5 hours of sleep. And I
Yeah.
knew it wasn't good.
Yeah.
So yeah, a good example. Right. Okay. All right. Last but not least is this is something that I think a lot of us struggle with. It's comparing ourselves. It's compare and despair, comparing ourselves, comparing your inside to everybody else's outside, everything that you're seeing on their outside, which is a lot of this with social media. Social media magnifies this, right? So even without it, people do this constantly with each other, right? So you might compare your doubt to their confidence. You might compare your grief, what you're sad about, what you're grieving about in your life, to their highlight reel. You know, their how beautiful they are, how successful they are, how they seem so happy. Look at their beautiful house, their beautiful kitchen. Look at their vacations. And what's with my life? Like, I live in my shitty little dank, dark apartment. My relationships aren't great, right? So this is what we do, right? And you might compare like what you're struggling with in your life to their branding. Remember that, everybody. So much of what you see in social media is their branding. Even on Snapchat, they're branding themselves. 18-year-olds are branding themselves. Don't forget that. And you assume I'm behind. You're making assumptions about yourself based on what you're comparing, what you've seen on Snapchat or on TikTok or Instagram or even maybe Facebook, right? So comparison, what does it do? It's fueling your shame because you're going inside yourself and you're telling yourself there's something that's not right about you. Not guilt, shame. Shame, like there's something not right about me at my core. Shame, and what does it do? It fuels isolation. Shame always fuels isolation because shame loves to keep you living in the dark, right? Isolation fuels anxiety. Isolation fuels depression, right? So you don't need to win at life. None of us needs to win at life, right? We need to regulate our comparison reflex. We need to regulate this reflex that we have to compare ourselves to everybody else around us. All right. Really, really important. And I think so many of us do this. And the more you're on social media, I would say the more you're doing it.
Probably not wrong.
Okay.
Yeah.
And why are these habits sticking? Why do they have glue? Why do they stick to us? Because they provide short-term relief. Let me just finish this and we'll go back.
Okay.
It provides short-term relief, right? So scrolling numbs us, overthinking delays. It delays us taking action in our life. Being avoidance protects us. It's a protective measure. Staying up, not getting your sleep. You might call it me time, right? I know a lot of you are doing that. And comparison gives you this false motivation. Well, I'm going to get motivated because I see what they're doing. No, it's not. It doesn't really work. So you might think that. It's not true. Short-term comfort, long-term cost for all of us, okay? That's the trade. Short-term comfort, long-term cost. Go ahead. You
And
wanted to respond to
we've lived that.
We've lived this.
Yeah, that is good advice right
You
there.
wanted to respond to that
Yeah.
last one about
Well,
comparison.
just self-assessment. So a couple things with this. One, so you talked about like comparing yourself to somebody on social media, right? I think the thing we all have to remember, you're seeing them at their best moment in whatever piece of content you're watching, right? Don't kid yourself that was take one. That was like probably take 5, take 10, right? They had to
Yes.
redo it and redo it and redo it. There was that one where it's like, okay, that's like the best piece of content for this particular piece of advice that I'm dropping. And now you're comparing yourself to their moment, air quotes,
Right.
of perfection. That's
Right.
risky,
Right.
right?
Right.
That's
Right.
really risky.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm going to give you some power moves. Before I give you the power moves, before we wrap up this episode, I want to just mention to all of you the study that I was reading about earlier this morning. It was a study that measured the psychological effects of daily social media exposure. What the new study does reveal to all of us about sleep anxiety and cognitive exhaustion.
Mm.
So it was a study that was done. This is written by Dr. David Traster. He's a co-owner of the Neurologic Wellness Institute with offices in Boca Raton, Chicago, Waukesha, and Wooddale. Okay, so there's a study. I'm going to go through it real quickly. The design of the study: they studied 268 university students at the University of, I think it was Mogadishu, actually, and I'll go on. So yes, sleep disturbance is the first warning signal. So you need to pay attention to that. Blue light exposure. I won't get into the weeds too much. It suppresses melatonin release and delays circadian rhythms, cognitive stimulation, intermittent reward signals. They talk about mental exhaustion and cognitive fatigue from looking at social media too much. Attention fragmentation is a really big part of this. The paradox of social isolation. The more that you're on social media, what it does to you in your real life with isolating yourself from others. What people are doing is they're replacing in-person interaction. They're doing what we just talked about right now, social comparison and reduced depth of interaction, because we have these parasocial relationships which we think are real via social media, and they're not. So the biggest association with being on social media is anxiety. It's the strongest association in this study. What came out of it was what it's doing to people's reports of anxiety. So it's fear of missing out, having FOMO, continuous exposure to social comparison, which I talked about, always comparing yourself to others. There's this algorithm driven emotional content, which I talked about earlier. The algorithm keeps showing you. So if you're looking for a lot of emotional content versus me looking at like wedding dresses, but if I started looking for emotional content, that's all it would feed me. That's not good for my brain.
Right.
There's also what comes up for people is exposure to bullying, conflict, criticism, cyberbullying. That's okay. So we know that with the political landscape, be careful of who you pay attention to. That's why people are getting crazy about one-sided politics. Well, the algorithm's feeding you that, and it's making you angrier and angrier and angrier. Constant reward anticipation through notifications. So if you've got your notifications on, that's like reward notification. That's your dopamine getting hits all the time. Okay. So pay attention. The nervous system has to process this. The brain's not meant for this. Basically, the article is saying the brain was never designed to deal with all of this. So the nervous system has to deal with continuous novelty, endless streams of social interaction, rapid emotional shifts, and persistent attentional demands. The environment may place unique pressures on systems responsible for attention regulation, emotional processing, sleep architecture, and social bonding. Okay, so our brains were never meant to do all this. So what's the takeaway? The study found that heavy social media use, and that's defined as 3 hours or more per day. And when they did this study, 84% of the people in the study of these college kids were on their phones more than 3 hours a day. It was strongly associated with multiple mental health indicators, including sleep disturbance, mental exhaustion, social isolation, and anxiety. Okay. So pay attention. This is a study. It just released. It just came out. I was reading it this morning. It was a really nice addition to today's episode. Okay. So there you go. There's science behind all of us, for all of us people, all of us, our brains. We were never meant, these brains, which are evolved from millions of years, we still are not evolved for this. Okay. So I'm going to end here with your power moves. All right. So, not your first power move, information diet audit. All right. Do an audit on the information you take in. Limit your news consumption to 15 to 20 intentional minutes. I brought that way down. 15 to 20 intentional minutes. All right. No scrolling before bed. and no scrolling before bed. All right.
Are you saying in a row, or are you saying in total for the day? What is that, 15 to 20 minutes? Like,
If you could do 15 to 20 minutes total for the day, wonderful. You're on a great course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Then if you can't do that, then do 15 minutes, get off, then go and get back on it later in the afternoon, or maybe at 6 or 7, not before bed.
Yeah. I think
Stop
15
scrolling
to
before
20.
bed. We've talked about this last week. We talked about this.
Yeah. I think a realistic first step goal would be 15 to 20 minutes max per time.
So maybe
Right.
you say, I'll do that 2 or 3 times a day.
Yeah.
But set a timer. Set your watch, set your
Yeah.
phone, set a timer. Okay.
Yeah.
If you want to improve and increase your mental health habits, this is imperative. You don't have to do it. I would say you kind of have to do it. If you say you really are serious about improving your mental health, then this is imperative for you.
Yeah.
It's your choice.
You have to
It's
do
your
some
choice.
version of this.
You have to do something.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So maybe you bring it down from 3 hours a day to 2 to 1.5 hours a day.
I mean, that's a big jump.
Yeah, it
right?
is. It is. Right. Okay. Number 2 power move is set a rumination timer. All right. And we talk about this all the time with OCD and anxiety. Set a 10-minute timer and then set that timer and ruminate, obsess about what it is you're upset about. When that timer goes off, you have to stop. Okay. Then you're going to take action. I want you to, and I talked about this a few weeks ago on here, and then I want you to take one action. Get up, get out of the chair, get off your bed, do something different. All right. If you're driving and the timer goes off, turn on the radio, start listening to music. Okay. Music's a wonderful distraction. All right. Thinking without acting, when you're obsessed and you're not acting, that's you being on a mental hamster wheel. All right. And you don't deserve to be on that hamster wheel. Number 3, your power move is I want you to name one feeling a day. Name one feeling. Get into yourself. Okay. Not the story. Not the story. I want you to name the feeling. This could be a little challenging for people. I feel disappointed. I feel anxious today. I feel left out. Name what it is you're feeling, okay? Get out of the story. You've told yourself the story. That's what you're doing. You're living in your head with the story. Now talk about to yourself, how am I feeling right now, okay? And then next one, I want you to protect your sleep like it's a meeting. You have to be at that meeting at 10 a.m. You have a 10 a.m. meeting. Treat your sleep the exact same way. You've got basketball practice at 6:30. Treat sleep the same way. I've got sleep lights out at 10 p.m. I got, reading from 9:30 to 10, lights out at 10. I remember at camp when I was a child, lights out at 10.
Lights out.
Same thing,
Yeah.
lights out.
Yeah.
Treat your sleep the exact same way, okay?
That's a definitive moment, right?
And if you need help with that, reach out to me.
Yeah.
Because some of you, well, a lot of you, sleep is a big thing that you need help with. Let's work together. Let's talk about it. Okay?
Yeah.
And then interrupt comparison. You've got to work on the comparison. Get out of that game, all right? Ask yourself, what is actually true about my life right now? Forget the other highlight reels. Forget about everything else. What is actually true about my life right now, okay? Replace your assuming things that are great about everybody else and shitty about you. Replace your assumption with data. Look at the data. What is actually true about my life right now? It's not that bad. There are a lot of really wonderful things and things I can be and am grateful for.
Sure.
Do that, okay?
Yeah.
All right. So in closing, mental health rarely collapses because of just one catastrophic event in our lives. Mental health erodes through repeated, unexamined habits for all of us, okay? So here's the empowering part. You can develop new habits. Habits are trainable, right? You don't need a new personality. You need new micro decisions. You need new micro habits. You need new intentions. And that work you can start today. You can start it right now. Okay?
I like it.
All right.
All right. So we've been doing this little assessment thing after each one of these, right? So let's do the final one right now. So my takeaway, and then you can share yours. So for me, what seems to be a theme here is time, right? So the valuable thing that I'm taking away is like, use your timer, right? Like we all have a phone with a timer on it. Use your timer. You're going to make an important decision. You need to do some research. Okay, set a timer for an hour.
Yep.
You get 60 minutes to do all the things. Your timer goes off. That's your moment of action, right? You need to go make a decision.
Right.
it's time to go to bed, or you're on your social media, set a timer. Timer goes off, it's time to shut down. So there's times to move and there's times to shut down.
Right.
For me,
And
that's it.
and with my if you've ever been coached by me, we talk about this. We work a schedule out for you of when you're going to do this. So that's a really good point. It's an important point, and one that many of us in the coaching world, we do this with our clients.
Yeah.
And yeah, good point. I will do it because I get distracted because I have attention deficit, and I will set a timer when I've got serious focus work to do. I can't always just go. I can't just go for straight. Sometimes I can go for an hour. Um, Even if I could go longer, I will get up and move around. I'll get, a cup of coffee or go to the bathroom, or I will allow myself to scroll on social media because that's time I have allowed myself to do that. And then I go back. So set timers for yourself for all the things that you're doing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Hope that this is helpful. You know where to find me if you want to work with me. Mad love, everybody. Have a good week. And I hope that this is helpful. Until next time.